You will be given a time to start. So again, that's something that they mention in orientation, that the DSPs in this warehouse start at this time, right? So that time, like maybe say 9 o'clock, right? And again, it's a 10-hour shift, so you might finish at 7. Um, but of course, you do have to deliver those packages. So ideally, they would send you out with someone on your first day. However, most of the DSPs are short staffed because there's a very high turnover rate, um, for various reasons. And so that's not always possible. So you may be out in your van on the first day by yourself. And there is a camera. They say it only records if like you stop short or run a stop sign, or if you actually manually turn it on, um, if you run a red light, if there's an accident, things of that nature. It does have a front facing camera and two side cameras for now, and then there's a camera in the back of the van as well. So basically, the camera can see from all four sides, which there is no backup mirror. So it is kind of helpful to have the camera on the back of the van, because if you do need to reverse, you can at least, for the most part, see. They don't recommend that you reverse. They typically would rather you drive around the block. But sometimes you have situations where you need to reverse. In terms of gas, they provided you with a gas card for you to fill up the van when you return, depending on how far you had to drive. And you're not going to burn up too much gas, even if you have the air on. So, about a quarter of a tank of gas typically, because they're energy, fuel efficient, and most of them are pretty newer vans. So, again, unless you're driving like, a really far distance, you're not going to burn up a whole lot of gas. So, they'll know, how much gas should be in it, because this is something that gets done all the time. You'll get on your first day, you'll probably get anywhere between say 100 to 150 packages. I was originally told between 60 and 80, but no. Again, if they had more drivers, it would probably ideally be that where you're only getting a smaller load. But again, because most of the DSPs are typically short on drivers because of the high turnover rate, you'll probably get at least 100 packages. And if you do well that first time, you'll probably get more packages the next day. And it will gradually increase until you're probably delivering anywhere from 200 to 250 packages per shift. Again, it's 10 hours. If you're someone who works out, you may be fine. But if you are not someone who works out, your body is going to be very tired and very sore. um, I know that my body was mad at me. She said, I feel like we worked for 40 days and 40 nights. Especially um, after that year that I went through with sciatica, my body still is a little bit weak. I had gotten to the point where I was walking. I'm still not able to run yet, at least not very fast. I can do like maybe a light jog, but I still can't run yet. So my body is still not quite back to 100%. Um, so I felt it. And again, coming from having suffering from an injury for over a year, um, basically a chronic injury, right? And I had gradually worked myself up again, like I said, to walking, but this is very different. You're in and out of the van. You're walking up and down stairs. If there's, say, an apartment complex, or even if it's someone home, some people have one step. Some people have no steps. Some people have multiple steps. Some people have like cement steps that go up and spiral around. Some people live way down a hill, right? Some people live up a hill. So it's great exercise. If you look at it that way, that'll help you get through it. It is good exercise, especially if you feel like you want to lose weight. They do give you water. They will provide you with water. I think it's Nestle Pure Life water. So you can get as many bottles of water as you want. They have refrigerators outside on the dock, on like the loading dock where you would load your van. And they're scattered throughout, alongside the building. And so you can just, like I said, if you want to grab a case of water, if you really drink that much water, you can grab a case of water. Um, you may not, because I don't know if anybody can drink that much water. Plus, you have to strategically plan your rest periods or your breaks so that you can use the restroom. So I don't know if you would want to drink that much water, but you should drink some water and stay hydrated because, again, you're exerting a lot of energy. Depending on what state you live in, it's hot. And even if you don't live in a state where it's still hot, depending on how many clothes or layers you have on, you can get hot, right? Because you're constantly moving. Again, you're in and out of the van. You have to make sure you leave the van door open all the way because you don't want it to close on you because then you'll be really sore from that. Of course, you have to be aware of dogs and, make sure that you're looking around. So you're constantly on an alert, looking around. If you hear a little noise, it could just be a squirrel or a bird, but, you never know. And you also want to be aware of people. Let's just be honest. Even people who just seem innocent. And, this is not me trying to be funny, but as a woman of color, I'm also thinking about, Karens, right? As a woman, I'm thinking about, creepy people. And not that you should allow it to make you feel anxious. It's just something that you need to keep in mind. Um, Doing a 10-hour shift, especially as we start to get closer to winter, at a certain point in time, it's going to be dark. So again, these are things that you have to keep in mind if you are planning to apply or want to apply. And again, I'm not saying this to freak anyone out or scare anyone. I'm just letting you know that you should be aware and be mindful that you need to pay attention to your surroundings, and be prepared, um, you know, for unexpected things. Again, don't ever be in fear, but just be prepared. Um, Typically, depending on the DSP, you may get paid once a week. You may get paid every 2 weeks. It really all depends on the DSP. So that's not an Amazon rule in particular. Um, the benefits I want to say are provided by the DSP as well, but I can't remember if they Amazon benefits or by the DSP. That part I don't remember because I didn't sign up for benefits. Um, Again, you want to wear something comfortable. Um, you want to stay hydrated. Oh, the camera does watch you. Like I said, if you're speeding, if you run a stop sign, if you run a light, um, anything that you're doing that, if you have the phone in your hand. So let's say, I don't know if you get a phone call or if you're trying to look up an address and you have your phone in your hand. So you're really using their device to navigate, but it's just an app. So you technically can use your own personal device to log into the app. It doesn't matter if you use their device or your own personal device as far as that is concerned. You may feel comfortable with your own device. But again, it should be mounted. They have, their device has a magnet on the back, and they have a magnetized whatchamacallit, hands-free um, clip. That's not what it's called, but I can't think of what it's called right now. But anyway, ideally your phone should be mounted to the dashboard. And if you need to touch it, you know, because you're getting a text, a phone call, whatever, needs to find a different address, you can do so. You can even use your personal device to do so. However, if you take your eyes off the road for too long, again, the camera's watching you. So, you will get it's like a distracted driver ping or ding, because they really want you to keep your eyes on the road. So if you really need to do something on your phone, ideally you should pull over. You can wait till you're delivering a package and pull over, and you could do it while you're in front of somebody's house, whatever that looks like. But you don't want to have the phone in your hand while you're actually in motion. You do want to organize your packages, and I know that other delivery service providers have shown how they organize their packages. So let's say you have 6 bags. For your first stop, you'll want to put your first bag on. They have racks, so you want to put your first bag on top, and the system will tell you everything that you need to do. It's really hard for you to do anything wrong, right? It's hard for you to scan the wrong package. You can't even deliver to the wrong house. Because if you do, the GPS will tell you that you're out of range. Sometimes the GPS is wrong. But if you check the address and you check the package itself and you know that you're at the right address, you can still deliver. But sometimes, like say you deliver a package, you know it's at the right house, and you stand back to take a picture of the package, and let's say you're standing back here, it'll say you're out of range. But as soon as you move up a little closer, it will no longer tell you that you're out of range. So sometimes it's just really technical, and you just need to move up a little bit. But sometimes it'll just tell you that you're at the wrong address, and you're really not. But you will want to organize your packages, and the packages have like a sticker on them. Let's see. I took my label off this box, but let's imagine this is the sticker. The sticker is smaller, but it'll have a sticker. And you see this 3048. So let's say you'll have a package 3048, 3049, blah, 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 blah. You will want to put them in numerical order. Some of the packages have letters. You may want to put those on the other side of your van just so that, you know, you have some type of structure and order. Then you'll have, so those will come in like a big bag. It'll be packages in small boxes. So the first bag you'll want to put on top, and then the next bag you'll want to put on the bottom. And then kind of do zigzag. But you organize them however you want, however it makes sense to you. If you want to put all your bags on the top, then do it the way that it makes sense to you. But as you go along and you start to get more bags and boxes, you may want to organize them in that zigzag pattern. So you're up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Then there's what they call oversized or irregular boxes that won't fit in the bag. So like say this big box, they probably wouldn't put in a bag. It would just be like a standalone box. And so those will go on the bottom of your van or on that other shelf, like I said, on the other side. Depends on how many bags you have and how many packages you have to deliver. So you'll want to empty your first bag because your first bag is your first stop. And again, the computer or the software that they use or the app they use will tell you exactly which bag should come first in your van. So you will organize those, and you're not supposed to organize your packages at the warehouse. You're supposed to pull off Drive to your first location, wait till you get to your first stop, and then organize your packages. And so you would take everything out, put it in numerical order to help it make it. When you're organized, it makes it easier for you to find the packages that you need so that you can quickly deliver them. If you're familiar with the streets, or if you want to look at all those addresses, you can. And you can organize them by the street if that works better for you. But if you're not familiar, just put them in numerical order. And again, that will be helpful to you. Um, Once you're about halfway or at least 3/4 of the way finished with your first bag, you will want to put that down, um, and maybe to the back of your band at the bottom. And you will want to start to open up your next package. And you will want to start to take those things out and put those in numerical order as well. Then you will close that bag up and set it inside your, um, or you will actually set the first bag inside your second bag so that you know those are empty, and so on and so forth until you're done with all your bags. Um, there is a hand truck, so um, you don't really have to lift anything too heavy necessarily. What I like to do is take my hand truck, slide it down off the truck, and if there's a heavy package, I push, pull, push, pull. Not too much pulling, but if I need to, like I'll use my feet because a woman's legs are stronger than her arms or upper body usually. So if I need to, I will push the box, like lean it, kind of slide it down or slide it forward, um, so that I can like slide it down. So almost like a lever system, if you want to call it that. So I'll just kind of slide and shimmy the box down until it's on the hand truck, because the hand truck will already be open and ready for me to just slide the box down onto it, if that makes sense. So that once I'm ready, I'll just grab the handle and pull the package to where it needs to go. Um, the heaviest thing is up to 50 pounds. So again, you don't necessarily have to lift that. But if you're a strong guy and you bench press 200 pounds, that 50-pound package is nothing. um, you know, but you do what you need to do. Again, you may have to carry those packages up or down a hill. So you'll need to keep that in mind. Um, because although you're not really dealing with the weight because it's on a hand truck, you still have to be careful because you may have to take it down a hill or up a hill, and you don't know what's in that box. You don't know if it's fragile, it could break. And so you want to just be very careful and very gentle, with your body and with the package. Um, I think that's maybe, I know in training, obviously at a certain point, some people have in the past or do now, they want to rush and get through the packages. So there may be a tendency to throw the package or not put the package where it should go, which I had to think of myself as someone receiving a package. I want the package to be where I can find it, right? Sometimes people will leave the packages, like, say, in front of a garage door, which is fine, but sometimes the customers don't know that their package is there, and they're complaining that they didn't get their package, and package may have been left in a place that the customer just didn't see it. Um, so it may take you a little bit more time to walk a couple more steps to bring it to the front porch or the back porch or whatever instructions they leave for you. Again, some of these driveways are very steep, whether you're going down the hill or up the hill. And so I get it. I understand why someone may not want to walk those few extra steps. However, um, you want to make sure that your customer gets their packages. You probably won't have the same route every day. Um, I guess maybe unless you've been there for a while and you have that rapport with the DSP to get the same van and the same route. But typically, I don't think everyone, especially as a new person, I don't think you get the same route. Um, so you don't know what you're going to get. There are mobile home parks, there are apartments, there are homes, obviously, there are businesses as well. So you don't know where you're going to have to deliver to unless you've done that route before. Um, I remember one house. Obviously, people will normally leave the packages in front of the garage because the garage, you have to walk up a very long driveway. It's long and curved up and around. And at the top of the driveway is the garage. And then you still had to walk another, say, 20 feet, at least 20, 30 feet before you got to the front door. So obviously, after the carriers would walk all the way up this winding hill and to get to the garage, they would leave the packages there. So the customer left a note not to leave the packages at the garage. But by the time you walk up that hill, you're tired. And it's not the customer's fault. This is the house they chose, and they just want their package in front of their door and not at their garage. And I totally understand that. But of course, they're not taking into consideration the person delivering packages in and out this van, delivering to over 100 houses, and walking up this long, winding hill only to have to walk an additional 20, 30 feet because that's where the front door is. Again, it's not their fault or anything like that, but it can be very tiring and exhausting. So you have to keep that in mind that, think of yourself as the customer. These customers want their packages delivered to their door. Some of them do have instructions to leave it in the garage, and so what would happen is the app would automatically open their garage door. You will put the package in. You need to come out because after a certain period of time, the garage door is going to close. And you do not want to be stuck in someone's garage, right? Especially if you don't know if they have a dog, um, or, so, um, you have a certain amount of time to drop that package off and keep going to your next stop. Again, depending on where you are, there are bugs, obviously, right? I saw a spider about this big. Two of them, actually. One was up in a tree. It had spun a web up in a tree. And it was eating dinner, looks like. And it was a colorful one. Again, big. And when I say big, I'm talking about just the body, not even the legs. And the other one was big like that too. And it was black. And I want to say white, yellow, and red stripes. I could be wrong about the red, but I'm pretty sure it was at least yellow and white. And so I think that's a poisonous one. And I was about this close to it. And I didn't see it until I was on my way out. Well, back to my van, and I looked over and I was like, wow. Because I walked into the spider web. And yeah. So you'll want to be mindful of things like that. Again, this is not to freak anybody out or scare anybody. Again, these are just things that you need to pay attention to. And I'm letting you know, or giving you a realistic perspective or view of what this could be like. Because I know a lot of people talk about, oh, I want to drive for Amazon. This is what you could expect. There is overtime, but you can't work more than 6 days, which is basically 60 hours, because you're working 10-hour shifts. And again, unless you're somebody who works out and you're used to pushing your body that hard, it can be a lot. Even working the 2 days that I worked, it was a lot. And again, my body was like, we've been working for 40 days and 40 nights. Because again, you're up and down stairs, you're up and down hills, you're potentially, um, you know, carrying packages that have some good weight up and down a hill. And so it is good exercise, but your body needs to rest as well. One of my coworkers, she said she just works every other day because she's a woman. And so Men can typically handle this better than women can, and that's not to be sexist. And I'm, if someone doesn't like it, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm just being realistic. And this is coming from someone who, again, likes to exercise. Well, to a certain extent, I like to walk, right? And I don't mind, doing what I need to do, but that is a lot. And it's the demand. It's not even just because you're delivering packages. Again, keep in mind that FedEx, UPS, and the post office was not able to handle the Amazon loads. So you're talking about people who are used to working for these companies potentially for years and delivering packages. But this is an overwhelming amount of packages because there this 2 day delivery expectation. And this is why they have flex drivers, right? Because even if the DSPs can't get this stuff out, they still have independent contractors that they can log into the app, the Amazon Flex app, and deliver packages. Um, Again, they give you water, they give you snacks. You get free coffee. So there's like a cappuccino machine. It's like cappuccinos, lattes, regular coffee. I think you can even do iced coffee. There are plenty of forks, knives, and spoons. Um, there are, like if you work in the warehouse itself, they, sometimes do free lunch. Or they might order cupcakes or something. Um, there are like vending machines, so you can even pay for something. They have like, say, cup of soups or chips, other snacks, and things of that nature. Um, Again, a limited amount of water, and they pretty much make sure you have everything you need. Um, even the DSPs, they'll give you snacks before you go out on your route. There's a little vacuum. You can clean out your van. Clean and surprise. You can clean your van. Um, Gloves if you want them. A mask if you want it. And like the cleanup wipes, like the Clorox wipes. They're not Clorox wipes. They're disinfectant wipes. But, wipes for that. For ladies, they do have sanitary napkins and tampons for free in the restrooms. So again, they will make sure you have everything you need. Napkins. Um, um, there's even microwaves for vegans only, which I appreciate. So only vegans can heat up their food in that microwave. Because really, a lot of vegans, we don't want to go, we don't really want to put our food into a stinky microwave that has been heated up with meat. And that's no offense. I'm just being honest. If you don't eat pork and you were to heat your food up after somebody who has some pork, then you should understand. Because everybody doesn't eat pork. A lot of people don't eat pork. You may not be able to relate to not being a meat eater, but you can at least relate to eating pork. And a lot of people who eat pork, I'm sorry, who don't eat pork would not want to heat their food up in a microwave after someone who ate pork. So let's just be honest. This is a thing. And so again, this is something that I appreciate because I would rather heat my food up in the microwave. I don't particularly care for microwaves. I don't own a microwave at my home. But realistically, when you're out in public and you have food to eat up, especially if you maybe cooked the night before and you brought your own food, you need to heat it up because they don't have stove tops. I mean, I guess you could bring your electric plate if you have one, but realistically, I don't know anybody who, there may be somebody who does that. I just don't know that person, right? Typically, you're just going to use what's convenient, which is a microwave, or you'll bring something cold and put it in the Frigidaire. Anyway, I do appreciate that. Um, You are given a vest. It may not be an Amazon vest initially because, like I said, they may not know whether or not you're going to stay, and I'm sure they don't want to keep giving out uniforms for people who don't stay. So they'll just give you a regular safety vest. It'll probably be an extra large. Um, and you need to rock out with that. So basically, you would be wearing all black. So black, say, t-shirt, black pants, and black shoes. If you don't own black, then something dark. So like a blue, brown, preferably dark colors. Um, you can get benefits. You can sign up for benefits. Um, Pretty sure you can even sign up for 401k. I don't remember all the deets. Um, it depends on what your goal and objective is. Everybody's is different. Um, but I know that I do remember seeing that you can sign up for benefits. Again, I don't remember if it's Amazon or the DSP itself, but I know that that is an option that is available. Um, so once you take your drug test, pass your background, and they call you in, then you would fill out your I-9 forms, direct deposit. It's all done what's called onboarding. So basically everything is done on the computer. So you fill out all your onboarding documents, upload your driver's license, social security card, birth certificate, passport, whatever you have. And then they will call you in to get started. And like I said, once you get started, these are the expectations for you to drive safely, for you to do your best to deliver those packages and not have any. It's not called an infraction. It's called a. I don't remember. Uh, but you want to have as little incidents as possible. So you want to deliver the packages and you don't want to have any violations. That's what they call them, violations. You don't want to have any violations. So you don't want to have your hand in your phone. You don't want to run any stoplights. You don't want to speed. And again, some of these drivers are doing so because, they want to make sure that they get these packages out. And they want to go home within the 10-hour period. So some people are rushing. Because sometimes you could end up working 12 hours depending on, again, how many packages you have to deliver. And I'm talking 12 hours from start to finish. So let's say you start at 9. You may have a startup meeting with your DSPs. You'll get your van, you start your van up. You may clean it, grab whatever snacks you want, grab your water. You may have a cooler with your own lunch in it, so you may take that out your car, put it in your car. That'll probably be about 30 minutes or so, 45 minutes. Making sure all the, doing the inspection on your van, making sure all the vans are running right, all those good things, right? And then you'll drive down to the warehouse, which is probably 100 feet away, because usually you'll be in the parking lot. So then everybody gets in, line, you have to drive 5 miles per hour. So you're just in a single file, you're driving into the loading area. Then the warehouse associates, they have already loaded your carts. So you bring your cart to your van. You load up your van. Again, if you need more water, there is water on the loading dock. And then you start driving to your destination. Everybody leaves at the same time. Pretty much everybody works in the same general vicinity, depending on your DSP. Because each DSP, if I'm not mistaken, is assigned to certain areas. And you will start delivering your packages. And depending on, how organized you are, depending on your speed, you do get 15 minutes in a 30, 2 15s and a 30. So, and they really want you to take your breaks, right? So, but now let's say you take your first 15-minute break and you need to use the restroom. You need to find someplace close where you can use the restroom. But someplace close might be 10 to 15 minutes away. So you have to get to that location, use the restroom. And so if you've already drove 15 minutes, right? Technically, so you don't necessarily have to go on break until you're actually ready to go on break. However, this is still your time, right? So a 15-minute break could easily turn into 20, 30 minutes if you have to drive to the say you a grocery store or a gas station. If there's one close, you might be fine. But let's just say again, you have to drive 9, 10 minutes away. You still need to use the restroom. Then get back in your van and turn the app on, and then drive back to your location. So let's say the other day there was a Publix. It was close. I know Publix has a restroom. I know I can get food from Publix. So it was like maybe 3 minutes away. So I drove to the Publix. I was able to use the restroom, order a sandwich, get a bag of chips, get back in my van, and and I deposited a check. So I took care of those things in 15 minutes. But I still had to drive back to the location. And although I wasn't far away from it, still, this is your time not delivering, if that makes sense. And so you take your 2:15s and your 30, but that's at least an hour when you're not delivering. It could be a little bit more than that depending on if you have to drive. So now you're at, say, 9 o'clock. Well, you started at 9 o'clock. And by the time you get done with your route, it might be 8:30. Then you have to drive back to the warehouse. So now you're at 9 o'clock. Then you have to park your van, inspect it, make sure you clean out your junk, blah, 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 blah. Then the next thing you know, it's 9:30. If you have packages to return, you have to return those before you hand in the van, obviously. Well, if all goes well, then you'll need to hand in your keys, your phone, and the other things that you were given in order to complete your route. So now it's 9:30. Right? So you see how maybe you were supposed to finish by 7:30. That time can easily creep up to 9:30 because or at least 8:30, 9 o'clock, let's say 12 hours, because you had to drive to and from wherever you need to go to break, and still get back on your route, drive back to your route. So you want to try to stay as close as possible. Some people take their breaks in their van. Again, that's why you need a lunch bag or a cooler. You really want to have more like a cooler type of lunch bag, because you want to fill it up with ice if you like your water cold, or if you have something that needs to be refrigerated. And especially, like I said, if you live in a climate where it's hot, you don't want your food to spoil. So ideally, you would want to be prepared to stay in your van for the majority of the day. Public urination is a violation. You are not supposed to urinate in public. I watched one video where a young lady talked about how drivers would, use the restroom in bottles, and then they'll dispose of those dry bottles, say, at a gas station, and then the gas station attendants are complaining that their garbage cans are full of urine bottles. So again, these are things you want to keep in mind, and this is why I said earlier, you need to drink water, but you may not want to drink too much water while you're out on your route. And whether or not that's good for your body, you have to make that determination for yourself. Um, and as a woman, I don't know if you want to pee in the bottle. And if it's that time of the month, you probably should not, try to do what you need to do. I'm just saying, you really need to find yourself a restroom, right? Um, Again, in some of these towns or cities, you may be in the boondocks in a rural area. So these are things you want to keep in mind. Um, let's see. I'm trying to think. What else can I tell you? Um, I did safe training 1 week, and I was paid the following week. So again, depending on your DSP, you may get paid once a week. You may get paid every other week. Certain rules and regulations are Amazon's, and certain rules and regulations are the DSPs. And you would learn that, if you decided you wanted to get hired. Um, so it's good. Again, exercise, your body probably has to get used to it. Depending on the DSP you work for, the pay may be good. Depending on the area you work in, uh, the I don't know. You would have to determine whether or not the pay is worth, if in terms of what the area you're in. Amazon itself does offer bonuses. So, like, say for example, there's a bonus going on right now. If you work 4 days, right? If you work 4 days within a pay period, you get an extra $120. So they're trying to encourage workers to work more hours. There's also another one in, I think you would get an additional $3 an hour, but they're still working on that one. So the pay can be pretty good, depending on what you call good. It could be decent. Um, so let's say the example that I showed you, this particular DSP is paying 17.25 an hour. So with those bonuses, like say even the $120 bonus, uh, I mean that gets you an extra, say $80 to $100 in your paycheck, depending on how many deductions you have. Um, then if you get like say an extra $3 an hour, so that would be $20.25 an hour, in addition to the $120. Um, you know, that's so if you're working full time. See. So if you're working 20, so let's just go with one of the bonuses that they mentioned. And in this particular case, you're making 20.25 an hour. And you work 4 days, so that would be 40 hours. Plus, so that's $810, of course, before taxes. And then you add the extra 125, that's 935 before taxes. So that's almost $1,000. Now, if you're one of those people who works the 60 hours, or say they may not let you reach 60, but let's say you do 55, or you do even do 50. If you work 50 hours, that's $1,012.50 plus extra 125. That will give you 1137 50. So you can make decent money. Again, depending on what you call good or decent, because not for nothing, people who work for, and I'm not sure if there's a max out, right? But let's say at like, let's say I used to work for Verizon, and the max out right now is probably 38, 30, between 35 and $38 an hour, depending on your position. So I don't really want to compare apples to oranges, but like FedEx, UPS, Post Office, um, I talked to a guy who works for UPS. He was cleaning outside, cleaning his car while I was delivering packages in a townhouse community, and he said he makes $44 an hour. I think on average, the UPS workers who have been there for a certain period of time make at least $38 an hour. So again, it depends on what you call decent. And obviously, they're doing basically the same work. So I'm just giving you a realistic view. I hope you can hear me just now because the battery signal came up. So I hope it didn't like um, mute the video. Um, but anyway, yeah, it depends on what you call decent, right? Because in 2022, with inflation being as high as it is, if you don't have the resources to adjust for the rising prices, um, from your perspective, that may still not be enough. And I'm just going to be realistic about that. So, again, this is me trying to give you a realistic view of what it would be like to work for Amazon. When you get home, you're going to be tired. Again, unless you're used to working out. But even if you're used to working out, your body's still doing something different than it normally would. Your body would not walk up and down stairs for 8 to 10 hours. Your body would not normally walk up and down hills carrying packages for 8 to 10 hours, right? So even if you lift a lot of weights, your body's going to be moving in ways and you're going to be using muscles that you probably haven't used in a while. So you want to make sure you're stretching, you're staying hydrated. Again, it is good exercise. You want to eat healthy. And most importantly, you want to get some rest. So by the time you get home, you may be too tired to do anything. Now, that may not apply to somebody who's young, right? Still in their, you know, late teens to 20s. Again, this may be decent pay. Maybe you still live home with your parents and you can do whatever you want to do with your money. And so this might be great for you. You get to run around, exercise. You might finish in 8 hours, right? And still go to the club and get up the next day and come in work. However, you're probably going to be tired. And you do have the option to work full time or part time. So if you're full time working 40 hours, 10-hour shifts, and really you might as well say it's like 11, 12 hours by the time you get there. If you're the type that gets there early, um, it could be a lot in terms of wear and tear on your body, especially if you're, more seasoned like myself. Um, this is one of the reasons why some people opt to do Amazon Flex, because you typically only get maybe a 4-hour shift and then you're done for the day. And you've made your $18 to $20 an hour. And if you want to stay out there, you can and deliver more. But if you don't want to, you can go home. With the DSPs, you can pretty much pick your schedule for the most part. Um, so like say you can basically change your availability. So unlike a regular job, it's like I said, there's an associate who chose to work every other day. Um, because she's a female, and it's a lot of wear and tear. It's a lot. Again, especially if your body's not used to it. It's like you need days, you need your rest days in between, as if you were going to the gym to work out. Um, so working those back to back days, and your body will may get used to it. But again, you may want to adjust your schedule to work every other day. I mean, of course, mail carriers do it, but they're mainly carrying mail and not packages. There's the difference. There's an expectation that these packages will be delivered in 2 days to these customers, and they can be up to 50 pounds. You might have a small box that looks like, because it's small, it's light, and it could be the heaviest box you ever picked up because you don't know what's inside these boxes. Then you can have a real big old box that's taller than you and it's light as a feather because, again, you don't know what's in these boxes. And although that big box may be light as a feather, it's still a big box, a big awkward box. So instead of carrying this box, so it's awkward, you can't wrap, depending on your size and your arm length, you cannot wrap your arms around this box. You can't really carry it underneath your arm because there's no space there. The box is bigger than you, right? Depending on who you are, this may be one of those times when you use your hand truck. So I'm getting ready to get off here. I think I pretty much gave a lot of detail. The training pretty much explains everything that you need to know or would want to know. Um, they do have little, I don't know, little devices that is supposed to, how dogs can hear a certain pitch that humans can't. Um, if the dog is far enough away from you and you press that little button, it should work. But again, you just have to use your judgment on that one. Basically, they tell you if you see a dog, get back in your van, and don't if you're a dog person, that's fine, but really you shouldn't be interacting with anyone else's dog because you don't know that dog. And the little dogs, they bite too. um, so you know if you see a dog, you should ask the customer if they can take the dog in the house. Which ideally, a lot of them do leave their dogs in the house. Um, and in training, they do tell you that you are more likely to get bit if the owner is with the dog, because then the dog is going to go into protection mode and could potentially bite you because they're protecting you from their owner because they don't know who you are. And again, it's even little dogs, and although um, a little dog's bite may not be as vicious, it can still hurt, and you still may have to go to the hospital and get a tetanus shot, right? You don't want to have to do that. I watched one video where the girl said she got bit by two dogs. The first dog didn't break the skin, and the second one did. And she waited till after her shift, and then she went to urgent care. Again, you have to use your own judgment as far as they're concerned, because there is the option for you to be rescued, and someone would have to come get you in your van and make sure that you get the medical treatment that you need. Although, yeah, they want these packages to go out, this is your discretion, your discernment, your health. So you have to do what you think is best. If you want to finish your shift, by all means. But if you feel like you want to go to urgent care or an emergency room, then do what you feel that you need to do. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Again, the hope is that you don't get bit. If you see a dog, get back in your van, even if it's a little dog. Again, not that you have to be afraid of the dog, but again, this is not your dog, and you're on this dog's property, and this dog's job is to defend and protect the property and the owner of the property. They don't know you. They don't care how friend. And yeah, some people have good energy, and I get it. But really, Amazon does not want you interacting with anyone's dog. Because again, this is not your dog, and that's not what you're there for. They don't really even want you to really talk to the dog. I mean, you can say, "Oh, how cute," or whatever if you'd like to. Hold on. I was wondering. um, so yeah, I can't really think of anything else. Like, again, if you decided to work there, you just want to be prepared. Um, be prepared for orientation, your drug test, your background. Um, bring your lunch. Um, make sure you're always close to a restroom. You might want to bring some wipes, some hand sanitizer, everything that you feel like you might need. Again, if you're a woman, Amazon does provide free sanitary napkins and tampons inside the restrooms, inside the warehouse. So if that's something that you need, you may want to grab, you know, a couple of those on your way, or some backups in case you run out of your own. But if you're a type of um, so basically you can put, you can be fresh when you first start, and then you have 3 times throughout the day where you can change, and then of course at the end of your shift. um, so you would work that out accordingly. you know um, I think I covered everything. But it is, basically manual labor, and you're driving or on your feet. Oh, you have to have your seatbelt on. That's another violation. Even if you're just going a few feet. So, you may see a mail carrier, they'll go back and forth from one house to another. But again, you have packages. You don't just have mail, you have packages. You may not want to carry packages from one house to another. So you may actually drive that 10 feet to the next house to deliver these packages. It may not be a heavy package, it could be a small package in an envelope. But again, because you're in and out of this van all day, and some of these houses are upstairs, downstairs, uphill, downhill, again, you could walk those few feet, but you're putting more wear and tear on your body when you can just drive. So even if you drive 10 feet, your seatbelt must be on. I will tell you that some people, I'm not telling anyone that they should do this, but I know that some of the drivers just buckle the seatbelt and then put the strap across so that the camera detects them having the seatbelt on. Because yes, you want to be safe, and that is a rule, and you want to abide by the rule. You don't really have a choice but to abide by the rules, because you'll keep getting violations if you don't. But when you're getting in and out of the van and delivering these packages, um, it's a lot to it's a lot. It's not a lot. I don't want to say it's a lot, but to constantly jump in and out of the van and put your seatbelt on each and every time just to go 10 feet, um, it kind of slows you down a little bit. I'll say that. That's what I'll say. Anyway, I hope that this video was helpful. Again, if you decide to work for Amazon, this is what you can expect. And technically, you don't work for Amazon, you work for an Amazon partner, a delivery service partner. So, that's it. I hope that this was helpful. Love y'all. Later. Mwah.